Hello everybody and welcome back. Mr. Obviously Insane here with some more Vanilla Skylines. Quick time lapse of last few streams where I did some highway work and landscaping. Right now I didn't want to change the entrance, so I just added a 1-lane each direction road and then made it asymmetrical so that there could be 2 vehicles going in or out, and then just made it the side that I wanted it on. So 2 go in on one side, 2 come out on the other side, sort of. Hopefully we'll see how that goes. Just trying to take pressure off the main tunnel. I did upgrade all of the bridge to 4 lanes to give them an option to turn and then to proceed onto our 2 lanes heading forward through there. The reason it's like that is because the tunnel was built first, and I didn't want to change that area around like I mentioned and completely have to rework that. But as it is, I decided that I didn't want to go through our ore area, so I decided that we're going to go under it. And we had a little bit of an issue where the tunnel currently is and some of the pillars. I end up having to remove the tunnel. It's not a big deal. We could just go ahead and redo it later, but I wanted to get a nice clean here so we get the road underneath and then tunnel back. I end up redoing some of the rocks and landscaping as well, just kind of as I'm going. I have noticed that doing it sort of in little chunks as I go is a lot easier than just trying to do like a giant area at one time. So essentially what I'm doing right now is just finding out where I want the underground entrance to kind of be and know where the direction the highway is going to go, so that on the other side we can put in the interchange and then start working our way back towards here. We'll do a little bit of the landscaping in the center. I want to try to set up we're going to do a few different layers, I think, and it's just based on money. We started with, I think, a little over 2 million, and by the time this is all said and done, I think I had about 800,000 left. So it was a bit of a pricey operation, and we're still nowhere near really having the area landscaped yet. So we're doing okay on money. That's not really an issue. Probably going to have to do some more maybe general industry as opposed to the specialty stuff that we've been working on. Get a little bit more tax dollars, but all in all, just trying to keep things simple, not go too far or choke the city too much. But all I'm doing right now is trying to bring the hill up to get the bridge kind of level, but I don't want to change the bottom of it and flood out the beach area that we have in that little cove there. So just kind of trying to be careful. Tried to flatten. This is where I said we're probably going to do a couple layers, but I just wasn't sure how, and I knew that we couldn't go too big because I don't have a lot of money for one, and we don't have like a limited soil on or anything like that, so I have to watch where I'm taking it from and then go put it elsewhere and still have things kind of looking nice. The goal up top there is to have the highway come in and then it sort of tunnels under. The bottom is, I believe, going to be a bridge. That may or may not change. It's probably going to change because I'll want to do sort of like a secondary highway around here at the bottom of the hill that'll come connect back up with eventually where we bring the highway down the border of the map there. And essentially that's going to allow for any residential areas that I may want to do in the center of this to have traffic access from a couple sides. And that should really help with the overall flow of the entire city, which we're not doing too bad on. At the end of the episode, there will be a bit of a traffic flow. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that wants to know what that is. You just have to stick around and see. But a lot of I'm just kind of going from the top to the bottom to just sort of get I just wanted it long enough for the highway to sit there, and essentially then we'll landscape around it and kind of just do some things. But I never just work into the area. I try to kind of build to it and then try to work myself back to it. I guess like a painter, you never really want to paint yourself into a corner. I know I've done it a few times playing this game, not actually painting myself into a corner, but I just tried to not go completely in and then have to delete everything. It's a little easier to do from one side to the other side and then figure out how you want to connect them up through the middle. But this is the new kind of rocky landscape. I think it kind of looks a little bit better. I just did a simple sort of highway exit sort of around the area, nothing too fancy, but I was also trying to be really careful here because I might do like another little beach area down on the bottom. This is what I was saying, like I'm not sure how many layers I'm gonna do. Landscaping is very time consuming and costly. It was a bit of a challenge to get the off-ramp into here and connect it to my future. If you know, on the other side of the city we have the road that goes all the way around. This 6th lane is essentially going to be that same thing that'll allow residents to get through without having to be on the highway to do so. But essentially, if they want it, that whole little area now becomes kind of like highway access, which wasn't even being used before. We were paying for it, and now it should get some use. I don't put a toll booth in yet, but I do have plans for the future to get a toll booth somewhere along this highway, probably on the other side of the river, to just kind of create more passive income for us as the city kind of grows. But it wasn't too bad getting the highway in, connections in there, and we just did a little bit of trees and stuff like that around that. It just kind of hides some of the unnatural stuff and makes it sort of blend in, I think, a bit more. But I didn't bring the train line across yet, but this is where I wanted to see where it's going to be. It'll probably be underground and come out on this ledge here as above ground, but that's, I think it was like 180,000. So it was a really expensive tunnel, and at this point I still had a whole bunch of landscaping to do, so I wasn't ready to sink that in just yet. But it's coming. Like I said, not exactly done this area, but enough that it's connected again so that the city can still function, and we can now work on it, hopefully, and let time run. 'Cause you'll notice that the game's paused, which is why I don't generally like to include some of this stuff. But I know some of you guys wanted the thought process and, you know, how sort of I build my city. So I figured a quick time lapse of sort of how the whole thing came together and sort of where I'm coming from might help some of you guys on that. But you can sort of see the layers starting to take shape. I'm not entirely, like I said, I'm not sure just what's going to be happening down here, so this is sort of like temporary. I just wanted to make sure that I got the connections back and that I could have the game running. We're probably going to have another interchange down here to allow for residential traffic, because the top area is, we still have to add the cargo stations and the industry that I wanted to kind of sort of put out there, like all the factories that we can have, and make sure that all of our train lines get out there and stuff like that. One thing I do wish this game gave us was multiple train line entrances, except just the one two-way track that comes in, because you do generate quite a bit of train traffic, and it can get a little tricky trying to juggle the amount of that. But for the most part, I don't think it's too bad. I do this whole sort of like beach area, kind of flatten it down. That's where a lot of the money went, was just basically getting an area in here that I could start with flat land and bring over roadways and residential and things like that are eventually going to be needed for the things that we have planned above, and just the overall city expansion itself, We're sitting at 36,000 now. When I finish this, I did run time a little bit. I didn't do anything, I just actually let the time run. I wanted to see how the city would fluctuate to everything that I just did to it, and it was fine. Made my money back, didn't really lose any people. I think we ended up at about 40,000. The video, I think, will pick up around 39-ish. We had a bit of a death wave again, and I think we're on the uptick to about 45. So if we can keep it going and continue in the area, I think we shouldn't have too many issues having money to go forward with the projects that I want, which is the national park and the construction of the ore industry on the other side, which is probably going to be one of the next projects, because I killed the ore industry for this, to build all this stuff out here, as I was kind of doing the highway and stuff like that, and I did notice a bit of a dip in the old income to the city. May hear me talking about doing just some regular dirty industry. I said I wasn't going to expand it, but I might end up expanding it. We get taxes on it. I just don't think it works properly in like actual industry areas, so I'll keep an eye on that, see if it actually is going to generate me some taxes, because it says in the budget, I think, that we do. So just trying to keep an eye on that. It is vanilla. I don't want to like run out of money, because this is pretty pricey. As you can see now, we're down to just over 1 million, and I still have a few more highway stuff to do here. The bridge is coming, and we do a little bit more landscaping as well. But I'm trying to still figure out how I want to incorporate that old train station into the area. It is going to stay there, and I kind of do want to have trains go by it. I just haven't really figured out yet how I wanted to. It has been a little tricky getting the highway bridges and terrain heights to sort of cooperate, but overall I don't think it looks too bad. Like I said, this is probably going to end up being an interchange at some point, so I just wanted to slap something in there and have the highway connected all the way around. We don't have any traffic that's going to be coming down now, so I don't want to be paying for that infrastructure, so that's kind of why I didn't really do that. But I did want to continue smoothing out this area, because this is where the highway will be coming down to meet up with the other side, as we've already kind of started the tunnel coming this way. And that will pretty much wrap up the time-lapse portion of the video. Just a little bit more of the highway and some landscaping here. We will pick up in the live stream, as I said, probably around 39,000, and we are heading up. As mentioned, we will also check on the traffic and stuff like that. If you guys did enjoy, though, be sure to slap that like button. These time lapses are a little bit time consuming, but they are quite fun to do. So I hope you guys are enjoying, and it does kind of get my thought process across just a little. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Until then. Boom. And you should fit right there. Perfect. Oh, you didn't like that? Is there nothing here? Oh, there's office space there. Let's see. Pathway should probably run. I'ma take this day, turn it to my day. Oh, oh, she love me, sipping bubbly, champagne, cocaine, kiss and hug me. It ain't you. Dropping money, okay, off day, getting lucky. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm living up life like a baller. To you, and then let's go straight. She always told me I never call her. Oh yeah, I'm living this. Sure, now you can connect to there. You can catch me in Alright, is there anything... I should look at the lines for that. Give me 1 second here. Pause. Oops. No worries, man. Thanks for stopping by and chatting. I do this every Sunday. Feel free to pop in whenever you like. If you're new, make sure you select that follow button so you know I go live, because it's usually only on weekends when I stream. So. Tram lines. 14 stops, 5 vehicles, and 191 passengers. Let's go to there. Right, so let's create a new one. Let's see, have it start. I guess go here. Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse with the stop by the bridge. Have you stop by the tunnel for all of those? Stop there. Oh, you can't stop on the bridge. Cool, stop after the bridge. Alright, so how do you go there? That. There. There. Teaching the game a veteran better than anybody else who tests me. I'm ready, looking at my hand and it's steady. I'm trending, ascending and blending, lyrical bending. Now I'm spreading and getting my name out now. Yeah, they hear me laugh. All the crowds repping the sound. I'm hitting the ground, running up and coming. Ain't nothing, yeah. Rookie of the year, I'ma keep it 100. Cold-blooded, no budget. From nothing to something, I ain't bluffing. I got a full hand and a full plan. I ain't gonna stop till I'm at the top, man. Every single drop got me feeling. Yeah, you can walk. I'm about to pop, started from the or get off at the depot. I wanna live. I'm cold inside. Give all I have just to feel alive. Alright, so that's one there and there. One day I'll have what I want in life. Oh, that'll be okay. We'll see how that goes. Should add some transportation around here, though. So that'll be good. You just keep wanting to pause on me tonight, eh? I'm working, I wanna be great. Yeah, working, I wanna be paid. Alright, so we I think those are upgrading. Buildings upgrading is good. So you got no people on you. I don't do it for the camera. I just do it cause I love it, do it cause I want it. I can never get enough, yeah. Don't judge so quickly. Yeah, we all been guilty. And this life's real. Suppose it's gonna take a little while until the line actually gets going. So we will check on that in time. We finally got that set up. So we got death care up there, right? Yes, we do. No, we don't. Right, that'll help with that. And I'm gonna put you down there. Mostly because there's already power and I don't have to worry about it. City's balancing out kind of nicely. It's been a pretty solid, close to 3 hours. And we're back on the rise too, so I like to see that. Yeah. Still not sure of the design here yet, but like I said, I think I want some kind of like service road type area, like rest stop area. That's the word I'm trying to think of, rest stop. But it'll probably be a 2-lane highway that goes into here. And we still have a whole bunch of rail work to do here, which will probably be the next funding project. Get the trains, both residential and the industrial, out here. Although they are spending quite a bit on train lines right now. I think I might want to put the ore industry back up online. That's going to be a lot of landscaping. So that's all hill. Straight down. But try to have the terrain dig in certain places, so it looks like we're naturally taking out the terrain. But I think the industrial area is probably going to be our next bet as to where we sort of go. So this is on hold. It's all sort of connected anyways. Once the city gets to a kind of a certain size anyways, one thing can affect everything else, so you kind of want to make sure you're striking the balance sort of the best you can. Or at least that's sort of what I'm trying to do. At least I know the city can sustain itself. Even though it keeps... Really? Again? God, I could just like... I could probably put one of these in every single episode. Does anyone know? Does education level have to do with how often, like, fires start, or... I don't know. I feel like I got a pyromaniac in that neighborhood. Just likes to see things burn. 53% graduated citizens, though. 23% highly educated. But 50% uneducated. And that's the trick, keeping the uneducated for the low menials, but still having enough to drive the city forward with the highly educated. How's my university doing? I haven't even checked to see what the enrollment was. Should be 4K though. Really? There's only 473 students? I'm gonna have to see what my policies are. Because there should be way more people using that university. Like, I get that it's... not even at 10% what it should be, though. Especially considering you're telling me that there's like 6,000 people eligible. I'll have to keep an eye on that, I guess. Looks like we're gonna get back to that 45K. Maybe? We'll see. we doing at time? It's almost 11. I was supposed to go longer today, but I'm so tired and exhausted and hungry right now. I don't know how much longer I can go for. Oh. Try not to make any excuses, guys. I'm sorry. Sort of feel like I've been burning the candle at both ends, though. But we'll have some Euro Truck Sim for the YouTube next week, and the Friday and Sunday episodes should go up for Life is Feudal on Friday and Cities on Sunday. Yes, that's what I like to see, budget. Oh, we won a game. Crap. Yeah. So that's not an actual representation of the budget. I think I'm doing okay. I wasn't going to expand that general industry. Knowing that I could get an extra bit of money from it, that might be something that I consider doing. Alright, what is it? 45,000, still growing. Throwing a quick pause here. Let's see, what's the traffic at? Holding at 80%. Okay.